Love and the Outcome is a band.
Husband and wife.
Jodi and Chris.
Rock meets pop.
Remember when your hope is lost and faith is shaken. Remember when.
Love and the Outcome, the album it really reflects the name. God is love, the Bible tells us, and we are created as an outpouring of that love. And I think these songs all speak to that in a different way. Like a song like City of God, which is one of my favorites on the album, is really about the community of believers around the world and how it doesn't matter what you look like, what you smell like, we can all be children of God.
The story behind He Is With Us is really our journey in a nutshell. When we hit the road, there were so many kind of ups and downs, and honestly, it has not been a peaceful, easy journey for us. And so we wanted our first single to reflect the tension and the fact that we don't have it worked out, and the fact that the one steady thing in our life amidst the ups and downs has been the Lord. And that's what the song's about. He's been with us. He is with us on our journey, and when we sing it, it gives us the chance to give people hope that wherever they are in their journey, we know that He is with them.
We can trust our God. He knows what He's doing, though it might hurt now. We won't be ruined.
Yeah, we all have a place. We all fit. I think for us, because we've spent, a good part of our life on the move, this album has sort of, you can almost hear like the footprints, and you can sense the drum beat. You can sense the two of us pounding the pavement, literally. I mean, we sold our condo downtown Winnipeg to make our first album, the Jodi King record, and we lived on the road in a Jetta to an Element to a 15-passenger van, and so that's our life. And you can hear that in all the songs. You can sense that we had to find common ground and sort of love people quickly because we were in a different city every day. And so, and people loved us back. And so we just felt like this record had to be an invitation to join the dance, an invitation to join what we like to call a joyful revolution.
Living in every moment, 'cause I can't stop the time. Tomorrow's gonna be yesterday. I don't want to say this is the story you're building in me.
2 years ago, my mom passed away from stomach cancer, and the year leading up to that was the year that our previous album was coming out, and it just seemed like everything was starting to move forward. And then
we had just gotten to LA. We had just kind of packed up the car to move. We thought we were gonna kind of land in LA for a bit, and your dad called.
Yeah, and we ended up getting a lot of good quality time near the end, a couple of months. And then when she passed away, we just sort of felt like this seems a little bit directionless, and all of our gigs had to be put on hold that we had booked. So then we started playing again. We did a tour in Asia and the Philippines, and it was kind of one of those really Holy Spirit moments that we were on stage in front of 10,000 Filipinos, and it was like, this is what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, it was like God kind of picked it up again.
The sun on your face, all that you see, the girl with the butterfly wings.
And then that led to touring with the Newsboys across Canada on the Maple Noise tour, and it just kind of opened the doors to Nashville, and so we just kind of followed the path.
I think when we look back on it, it was a real laying down of everything. I think because we had sold everything to make the record that we then canceled all the tour dates for, it was a feeling of now what, and such grief. And I think that I know we started really praying pretty specifically that God would show us clearly. If this was a road He still had for us to walk, we would do it, but He had to make it clear. And we hadn't prayed like that a lot, I don't think, in our married life together. And He just made it so clear. And Nashville was this whisper that became louder and louder. And I think when God picks something up like that in such a clear way and doors start to open, you just know it's him. You know, the opportunities are him, and you gotta just go for it. So.
Sparks fly, my heart runs over. Breathing in, breathing out.
It was actually pretty new for Chris and I to collaborate on a record. And so this record, though, was the first opportunity. Chris would pick up his bass guitar in our little Nashville apartment, and I would have my tom drum, which is also our little coffee table. And we would just I'd start singing over top of bass riffs. And so first of all, we would collaborate, and then we would go into sessions with our ideas already worked out. Because otherwise you just blend in to the woodwork. You can sound like anyone unless you really are yourself. But it took a lot of courage because we were writing with some of our favorite writers. So it took a bit of faith to be like, okay, this is us, this is what we've got. And Jason Ingram, I'll never forget that. I mean, we've seen so many worship songs with his name on the bottom, you know. And so we'd play him our ideas and he'd be like, you know what, you guys, limits are amazing. Boundaries are a good thing because it means you can do this and that is who you are, and then you can't do this. And that's good, it keeps you in line with who you are, keeps you honest. So that's how we'd collaborate. We'd bring in the bass, bring in the drum, bring in the vocal, and I tend to write sort of pop-driven melodies, and then we would sort of meet the person and their creative energy, and God would kind of do his thing, and we'd find a song in the midst of that.
We recorded the first half of our album in a studio in the middle of the mountains in Washington, which was amazing. It was like a palace. And we recorded those with our friend Seth Mosley. And the second part of the album was all done in Nashville. And Ben Glover and David Garcia produced those songs. And that was a little more contemporary. We just kind of bounced around from studio to studio, and it was a really great experience.
But sometimes I like 'em burning first. Wish I could see you like a firework.
Being a Canadian in Nashville is wonderful. We absolutely love it. I mean, we've gone from driving 8 hours between shows to an hour. And Chris likes the burgers.
Burgers are outstanding.
There's a lot of good things. I think as a Canadian, it can be a really tough road, literally. I mean, you're in the mountains in snow. You are sort of just trekking around this massive country, trying to share your songs with people. And when you move to Nashville, at least for us, it's just a lot easier. The last tour we did, we'd play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we got to go home, sleep in our own bed, and do laundry. Like, we're not used to that. Simple pleasures.
Yeah. I mean, it's Music City for a reason. Everywhere you look, the city is kind of geared towards that, and the Christian music industry is really based there. So there's a lot of resources that are just kind of easy to grasp.
Yeah, our label is at the end of our street. It's such a joke. We didn't know that. We moved there to start writing our next record, and there was a lady putting a rent sign on the apartment, and we drove by. We're like, sure, we'll take it. And then we signed to Word and realized they were a mile away.
Yeah.
Our album comes out on August 27th in the US, and immediately following that, we'll be on the road with new songs.
People can find us, Chris and Jodi from Love and the Outcome, at loveandtheoutcome.com. There's one song online right now, He Is With Us, is our new single, and that is the only thing available on iTunes at the moment. But we hope you can repeat it a lot until August 27th.
The only thing that's different is Twitter is Love and Outcome, at Love and Outcome.
We picked a long name.
He